fun.
All right, back for more 6-1. That's what we're doing now.
Yeah, I'm gonna not have the draft board up just because we're not even referencing it. So,
Fair.
you know, I think people would rather see our beautiful faces than a colorful draft board anyway.
100% agree. 100%.
Especially because I got this great beard now.
There you go.
All right.
Get this started, Matt Harris.
Starting with team getting buzzed, which is Mr. Gary DeGro's team. It's clear that Kyle Pitts is going to be a rock star for your team if you're planning on getting that tattooed across your chest. So it's like the same things, guys, going over and over. Mike liked his draft the most. I think this is our first Mike. Let's see. And he's not really convinced in Cam Akers. So good luck with that.
But that was a keeper, so that's not a big deal.
Well, I mean, Cam Akers in the 14th. I'm not too upset about that. What do you think, Carver?
Son of a bitch.
Oh, somebody
He
got
did draft rookies.
So yeah, Gary has ETN Akers. Two guys coming off of injury from last year, so question marks on both of them there. Two guys that have not been promised any kind of a starting workhorse role by their head coaches. So, you know, lot remains to be seen on that one still. But he did draft two quarterbacks. He's got Jalen Hurts that he can stack with Devontae Smith. So that's a pretty strong stack right there. And he took one tight end, one kicker, one defense, you know, the classic 1-1-1-1-1 thing going on there. He only drafted one rookie in Zamir White, who is thought to probably be the starter for the Raiders next year, if he does well at all. So that gives him another option for a rookie keeper next year if ETN doesn't pan out. Yeah, he's got. I think his team is really well rounded, pretty strong all across the board. If I had to be nitpicky about anything, I would say I don't think he has the best wide receiver depth to kind of choose from in that area. But again, that's just being a little nitpicky. I think that Gary had a really good draft.
Cool. Chewy?
Yeah, I mean, nothing. There's nothing I really see. I'm not even worried about. I'd even step it up. His receivers are just in general, not even just the bench, a little questionable. Like they're not the strongest set of receivers, but I mean, he invested in. Well, actually, I mean, it's more that he took a tight end like I did. So he's got his keepers, and then he's got Mixon, but that gives him his running backs. But I don't know about his receivers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, his tight end is wide receiver, so it all works out.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on then. We're going over to the second most beautiful mat in the league.
We already did your turn.
Oh, ooh.
Oh. So
Your strongest position group is starting running back. Did that surprise you at all?
no.
No, again. Starting running back. So feel free to boast about it. Mike loves your team.
Damn it, this is the second year in a row that Mike likes my teams the best, and he's the worst. So
Yep. So Mike loves your team. He says he bases everything on McCaffrey. Everything that he talks about is all McCaffrey.
okay.
So yeah, that's where you're at there. So what do you think about your draft? It was excellent.
So yeah, kept McCaffrey and amazing value with Justin Jefferson in the 14th round. Don't know how he slipped past everybody.
It's crazy.
I'm only gonna say I took one quarterback, and I will admit that taking Deshaun Watson was a waste of a pick, and I have already dropped him. So only because I wasn't allowed to put him on IR. jerks. But yeah, that was a wasted pick. So I only have one quarterback right now, but as I've said, there's plenty of quarterback depth on the waiver wire. So I'm not worried about that situation too much. I didn't write this down for me, but I'm pretty sure Drew, do you have the draft board up?
Yep,
Did I take one tight end or two?
Two.
Right? Yeah, 2 tight ends, 1 defense, no kicker. But I have since picked a kicker up with dropping Deshaun Watson.
yes. And our favorite thing was your draft position prediction of somebody taking the first defense. You then were the first person to do it, ruining your own prediction.
Yeah, that was I did that on purpose. That was my
Yes, obviously.
Strategery.
So my only rookie that I drafted was Jalen Tolbert, and I've been really high on Tolbert all off season, and he's going to be the second. He's going to be the number 2 wide receiver in Dallas 'cause Michael Gallup's out, and I thought had high hopes, and apparently he's been performing like poo poo, and yeah, it's a pretty weak rookie to have drafted, and I've done what I've told other people not to do and lock themselves into a bad situation if you can't keep your current rookie for next year. Like if McCaffrey gets hurt again, right? Or if he's just washed, then I'm not going to want to keep him next year, but I'm kind of screwed because Jalen Tolbert would be my only other rookie keeper unless I worked out a trade or something like that. So I'm still banking on McCaffrey having some juice left and being able to keep him next year, but only time will tell on that. I don't know, little bit of bias, not gonna lie, but I think I have a really strong team. I think I've got depth in all areas, and I don't really see a weakness in my squad. So barring injury, I think I'm gonna be the man this year. So,
Well, we have 2 first-round keepers. That kind of really helps the team.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Okay. So moving on to the Les Champions.
Hold on, before we move on, we keep forgetting. Can we do a group drink? Joey, this is gonna be the 6 of 8 for me.
Okay. Yeah, I don't owe anything. This is just for the fun of it. Matt doesn't. I think, Matt, you've paid everything. Well, you owe
I owe a shot and chug, but I'm doing that when we do our reveal.
okay. Okay, so on to beer.
Les Champions. The champion. Austin Eckler is his guy. It's his rock star. DJ Moore is the one that they're a little nervous about. He's the highest risk. Jason loves his team the most. Carver, let's get your input.
Hold. All right. Ryan kept Jamar Chase and has no other keeper. Dumb, but as we agreed, he didn't really have anybody here worth keeping. So drafted 2 quarterbacks, getting no stacks out of either of them. Drafted 1 kicker, 1 defense, and 3 tight ends. Why? I don't understand.
You drafted your favorite too.
He drafted Mike Gesicki again, which is dumb because Mike Gesicki is trash. And I don't care about the couple good games he had last year. They have added a really good pass catching running back. They have added Tyreek Hill, and they have told Gesicki that he's going to play more of a classic blocking tight end role than his slot wide receiver role that he played last year. So Gesicki's trash, terrible pick. Why would you ever draft 3 tight ends? You're dumb.
What was that pick? Do you know what round?
Like 10-ish.
11. Round 11. He took Schultz in the 6th, Gesicki in the 11th, and Njoku in the 13th.
Oh, so he actually, okay, cool.
Yeah. So
I don't remember when he won on auto draft, and I think he did it twice, so I don't remember which picks resulted from that. I do not think it was the tight ends, but I could be wrong.
Well, I mean-
so, but yeah, he drafted Hassan Haskins as his only rookie that he drafted, which is like mine, a very weak rookie for that being the only one that you drafted. I don't see Hassan Haskins being somebody that's going to contend for knocking Jamar Chase out of his rookie keeper spot.
No,
But, you know, Jamar Chase is, if you're going to have a wide receiver as your rookie keeper, Jamar Chase is like the only person available right now. You know, Justin Jefferson, obviously I have him. Nobody can do that. Cooper Kupp, not that situation. But yeah, so Brian has the only acceptable wide receiver that should be kept in the first round as a rookie keeper. He's strong with wide receiver depth. Running back, very, very weak. Very weak at running back. So yeah, there's Brian.
my favorite is that he went back to the Josh Jacobs well. He traded Josh Jacobs to me last year because we did that, big
Right.
trade that happened towards the end of the season. But yeah, it's funny to me.
Was Jacobs his keeper last year before
Yes.
Chase? Because I
Jacob,
remember him
yeah.
just complaining about Jacobs.
That was
the
his rookie
last
keeper.
preseason.
That's because
Yeah,
Jacobs is bad.
Right.
He
I
is.
mean, yeah, I'm not arguing.
Hey,
That's why
I
it's
will
-1.
say though,
He picked him up again.
the trade actually worked in my favor. I won games because of Jacobs towards the end of the season. I didn't win anything that mattered, but I still won games.
Right.
All right, moving on to Le Champion's cousin, Mr. Billiam. Let's see. Bill, no surprise, Josh Allen is the backbone of your starting lineup. Andy likes your team the most. J.K. Dobbins is the highest risk that you have on your team. Carver, let's get your analysis.
So kept Jalen Waddle, kept J.K. Dobbins. And we'll get to that in a second. Kept drafted one quarterback, didn't get any kind of quarterback wide receiver stacks, drafted 2 tight ends, 1 kicker, 1 defense. Nothing wrong with that. Rookies drafted Garrett Wilson and Christian Watson.
And Trey McBride, right?
Oh, is that the very last pick?
Oh, yeah, the tight end.
Okay. Yeah. Pretty sure he's already dropped him though.
I think he did, but he did draft him. We're talking about the draft, right?
Yeah. Just talking about the draft. So, but in doing that, he has locked himself in again, like we said, to a wide receiver in his rookie keeper slot because he has no other choices. And Christian Watson's not going to overtake Jalen Waddle. I doubt Garrett Wilson will be good enough to be like, oh yeah, I have to keep him over Jalen Waddle.
Is it because he's
So-
on the Jets?
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, man. It's just a bad situation for locking yourself into having to keep a wide receiver. I think you should have taken Breece Hall at the third pick in the draft,
No, why would he do that?
because then he would have had an option to keep a really good running back in the first round next year.
Yeah, but I got to keep him in the 12th spot, so thank you.
Yeah.
Well, the more interesting thing with Bill's draft is by the time we picked our spots, I think we knew everybody's keepers, right?
Yeah,
So he chooses the 3rd spot, which when Brashawn is the 2nd spot is still the 2nd spot. And but I don't know, like my rankings, like Henry, I mean, at that point he could have drafted, I guess not much farther, but the Henry over Eckler pick in a half-point PPR is kind of interesting, at least by ranking status. I mean, it's hard to ever argue against Henry, but at the same time, Tennessee only has Henry at this point.
Treylon Burks.
Right.
Robert Woods,
With-
Austin Hooper.
Yeah,
Come
with
on,
Tan-
put some
with
respect on
Tannehill.
Austin Hooper's name.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be amazing.
Tannehill.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go to everybody's favorite drafter of the night. And I think we all agree that he was just our favorite. I mean, I wasn't in person with him, Carver, but I just assume it was amazing.
Well,
Brashawn.
yeah, go ahead.
All right. So Brashawn, yeah, your starting running back appears to be the weakest because there's a reason for that. You're leaning on Cooper Kupp this season. James Robinson will be someone that you watch. He's the highest risk that you have. Andy likes your draft the most. And Carver, take us away.
So Brashawn kept Brandon Ayuk as his rookie keeper, kept Cooper Kupp, which is very, very good, and then said that he 100% would take another wide receiver with his first actual pick in the draft. And he was not a liar. He's not a liar at all. So congratulations on that. He took 2 quarterbacks. I believe they are the 2 oldest quarterbacks to be starting this year.
They are.
So his quarterback room is old as fuck. No stacks to go along with those quarterbacks. Took 2 tight ends, 1 defense, 1 kicker. Kicker in the 8th round. I've talked to my analytics department. It's the earliest anybody has ever taken a kicker in the history of ever, other than Andy Brooks.
Oh, okay.
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 There you go.
Okay. So you guys are in a class of your own. So congratulations. But at least Brashawn didn't take Will Lutz. So the only rookie keeper that he took was Chris Olave. So again, locking himself into a guaranteed wide receiver in his rookie keeper for next year, either Ayuk or Chris Olave, unless he can pull off a trade. So, it's not a good situation. You're not getting value in that position at all. So I wrote down that his wide receiver core is very strong, unnecessarily strong. You can only start 3 wide receivers max.
First
Can't-
5 picks.
You can't
That
do
was
anything more
insane.
than that.
I was
So-
insane. I will say, so like when we're sitting, it's me sitting at my desk right here. Chewy's right next to me at the desk. We have Chris on the video chat with us. His first official pick in the draft is Stephon Diggs, and it threw us. Like nobody expected that. So we were like, well, this shit's already out the window. Like, we just didn't know what was gonna fall from there. And then that 3rd round comes around, and what 3rd wide receiver was Mike Williams, right? 3rd round?
Him,
excuse me, wrong team.
Allen.
Yeah, Keenan Allen. Yeah, that gets
He
dropped.
took right after Mike Williams.
Yeah, okay. Interesting. 4th round comes around and he takes. That's when he
Olave.
took Olave, or was that
Yeah.
Cooper Kupp?
No, Cup is 3rd. So it goes Ayuk, Diggs, because Ayuk's his keeper. Diggs, Cup, Allen, and Olave.
Yeah,
And then he goes quarterback, tight end, kicker, and in the 9th round gets
So-
his first running back.
I don't
Yeah,
know
he's
how
got-
you guys. I don't know how you guys were doing over there in Phoenix or in Mesa or wherever you were that night, Carver. But here we were like, he's got to be taking a running back now, right? And then it was boom, wide receiver. Okay, well now he's gonna take a running back, right? Tom Brady. Oh.
No, I think Gary was trying to get him drunk during the draft and just kind of threw him off his game. That's what I'm going to go with.
Gary's fault.
Gary's fault.
Okay, that's fair.
But yeah, as you probably noticed, he has not one single running back one on his entire team. So
Nope.
none of his running backs that he can put in his starting positions are starting running backs in the NFL. So that's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it works out.
Yeah. Chewy?
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
we love B. We love him. And if Gary had a hand in this, the sad part is I don't think you even need to mess with B when he's drafting. Like, if not, so like if this was just a let's see what we could really get him to do, like then I get it. But I mean, I know Gary called later, and at one point it was like he told B he was going to give him a shot of whiskey and handed him Crown, and B said, "I thought you were going to give me whiskey."
That happened. That's a true story.
Oh yeah. We were
So-
video chatting at that point.
Yeah, so it's you know, it's just a fun time from what I gathered, and I think my only regret of the draft was not hosting it, but it did save me from having to record probably people trying to issue bets while I was drafting.
Yeah,
Because last year's draft had a lot of, I remember a decent amount of at least bet talk, but I don't know how many bets actually resulted from the draft.
I think I might be leading the draft board right now, and I think that really pisses off Chris.
Yeah, if I
the draft board, the trade, gosh, the betting board, whatever it's called.
I'll
Damn.
hit Richie, because that's our last one to talk about, and then I'll tell you where
Okay.
the bets stand.
Okay, Richie, leaning on Jonathan Taylor, which we all expect. Christian Kirk is his biggest. We'll see what happens this year. That's his biggest one according to the fantasy footballers, and Jason likes his draft the most. Carver.
Richie took Cook and Kittle as his two keepers, drafted two quarterbacks, has a great stack with Herbert and Mike Williams, drafted one tight end, no kicker and no defense. So it's a strategy I like. I'm a fan of that strategy. My guess for the two people that he will drop in order to get a kicker in defense is Eno Benjamin, and I don't know if he'll draft this guy, but I think he should draft Isaiah McKenzie. If Isaiah is his first name, I can't remember.
Drop, not draft.
Drop, yeah, he should drop Eno Benjamin and McKenzie. Those are the two guys he should drop, in my opinion.
Well, do you know who he dropped?
No, did he already do that?
He dropped Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, all right.
Well, when you have two quarterbacks,
Yeah,
That'll work too. That'll work.
So
I
we'll
don't
see.
know if he has done a second drop.
I haven't noticed. I was kind of like, oh, Aaron Rodgers is available now. Okay.
So
Yeah.
he drafted Drake London, Tyler Algier, Tyrion Davis Price, and Wan'Dale Robinson. A very good bunch of rookies to take. You have I kind of don't think he wants to keep Dalvin Cook again next year. So
I think there's three teams in our league. It's Richie, myself, and Chewy who have the running backs who are just at that hill, right?
aging out, right?
Yeah. And so yeah, I totally agree with that sentiment that it's time, like could be like I told you Kamara's on the trading block, but I'm not just giving Kamara away because I 100% believe he's going to have a good season this year. So
Right.
it's got to be something worth my while to try to trade him. And I think Chewy's in that same boat with Zeke. Not that Zeke's going to have as good of a year as Kamara because we have that year-long bet, Chew. But
Even when I took it, I said, I think you're going to win this, but I have to on principle.
But I think 100% that Richie's in that same boat with Cook. Like Cook's gonna have a good year. It's gonna have a good season, but like you just said, Carver, like you're gonna have to take him out to pasture here soon.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, he's got two running backs as rookies, two wide receivers as rookies. I personally wouldn't take any of them as a rookie keeper, but I think that they all have promise. The two wide receivers have more promise than the two running backs,
Agreed.
but we'll see. I think that
If
they
you
can all-
had to,
I think that Drake London, Tyler Algier, and Wan'Dale Robinson could potentially all make an appearance in his lineup this year, though. So
Yeah.
getting those guys at the later part of the draft, I think was pretty good.
I think Drake London has the potential to be the best rookie wide receiver this year. So, I mean, I'm not
Oh
upset.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
So,
But Richie has one of the strongest teams on all levels, I think. So they get a good draft.
cool. All right. Well, Chewy, anything you want to add to Richie's team?
No, let's jump into grades because I think that that plays into some bets and we'll kind of sum up what I thought.
Okay.
Hold on. So I'm gonna give my so if we can do it like this, if this is possible. So I'll give my bottom four, and then you give the fantasy footballers bottom four. Right? And I'll give my next four, you give their next four. Is that all right? Can that work?
I mean,
No, it doesn't.
Because there's so many ties or whatever?
Yes. All right. I'm going to tell you this right now. Before we even put all these teams through the Fantasy Footballers Draft Analyzer, I had a conversation with Gary and Chewy and I. We had a video call, and it was right after the draft. And Gary said, a lot of people did better this year than expected. Like, I just didn't expect. It helped that two of them were just auto draft, right?
Yeah.
But that's what Gary said. He's like, people stepped up their game this year. So it was actually more even than we all thought it was going to be.
Okay, hold on then. How about this? I think the two worst drafts, the guys that are going to finish in dead last and second to last, are Bill and Special K. Those are my two picks for the worst drafts, or the worst chance at doing anything this year.
I will tell you.
Wrong.
I will tell you. They are tied for last place.
Yeah, my
According to
analysis is spot on.
Fantasy Footballers. I will tell you, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people with the same grade. 8 people with the same grade as them.
Yeah.
As them?
As them,
Yes.
yes, 8.
Is
There's
Brashawn
an eight-way tie for last.
is Brashawn one of them?
Yes,
Are Matt Nielsen and Andy Brooks two more?
yes.
All right. Well, that's my bottom five.
Oh, I apologize. No, Matt Nielsen is better.
Then
Okay, so I'm just gonna say it now. The
Okay.
lowest grade that we have, the lowest grade is a B.
these guys are too nice. They're just too nice of people.
Right?
They don't wanna
It's funny
fail
because
people.
when we did the analyze, Chewy and I did, we just because he was here, we did it together right after the draft. We did everybody's team. And we were like, a B? Like, really? So we did mine first. I got a B. That was my grade. Okay. Then we go into Special K. He got a B. Corey, B. Nielsen, B plus. Let's see. Chewy, B.
So I have
Andy,
you,
B.
Chewy, and Brian all in the same vein, right? You
Okay.
guys are all kind of lumped together for me.
We got Gary, B. All right, here you go. You ready? The top 2 teams this year with an A minus. Mr. Carver himself.
Hey, hold on. I'm gonna say Corey.
Brian.
Fuck Brian.
You guys had the A minuses. Corey has a B with me and Chewy. And
I-
6 other guys. Well, 5 other guys.
Well, fantasy footballers are dumb.
And
And-
Richie's got a B plus. So there's 2 B pluses, which is Nielsen and Richie, and then 2 A minuses, which is Carver and
Brian, who
Spear.
I said would have the worst grade.
Yes.
I was a little bit off on that one. No, I completely disagree. Me, Richie, Corey, and Gary we have the 4 strongest teams. One of us 4 will win the whole thing. And I'm going to say that it's all because of Mike Wright that that whole algorithm is stupid because he sucks.
All right. Who are your bottom feeders this year?
The donators are Special K, Bill, Rashawn, and Andy Brooks. The pretenders, Matt Nielsen, Brian, Chewy, Harris. You guys will all finish. You guys will all fight for a playoff spot, but have no real chance. And then me, Richie, Gary, or Corey, one of us 4 will be the actual victors.
Okay. Well, I owe a shot and
It's gonna
chug.
happen.
So I'm gonna get that out of the way right now because I lost. I believe I picked. What did I lose, Chewy?
So you and I were wrong on best draft because you said Special K and I said Richie, whereas Carver picked himself. So Carver doesn't owe for that.
Yeah.
I paid it, and while you were doing 8 shots, I threw that in one of those videos. So
Yep.
I'm all paid up.
So
Carver, on the other hand, owes for worst draft because he took Spear and you and I took Brooks, which I never went back to the tape because I thought it was odd we picked the same guy because usually I don't do that, but it wouldn't
think-
matter because there was an 8-way tie. So likely anybody else I chose would have tied that prediction anyway.
well, and I think that's just it. I think really we just didn't anticipate them to just auto draft because we thought they would want to be present with everybody. So
Yeah.
and we don't know what happened at home. Maybe something happened. Maybe somebody crawled out of the basement for Nielsen or something. I don't know. But
Yeah.
they weren't present, which is a bummer. And I think that skewed some things. But ultimately it's gonna be a good season, a fun season, and I owe a shot and chug. See if I can get this done.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways, with the crap we give them and the way their teams have been, they may have just wisely done the smart thing by auto drafting. Like they may
Maybe.
have just been, I know like 2 rounds of football that of the people I want, and then I'm out. And then they just said, because like it was like they took a pick and hit auto draft. They didn't time out. They chose when to go on auto draft. Unlike Spear, who just timed out like twice for some reason. So, yeah, I mean, it makes the league. There's a less fun aspect, but it makes all the teams more balanced. So that's going to be interesting. But, if you can't draft, can you really do waivers and stuff? So your team has to be good from now on. And we know the season is won or lost in waiver pickups.
Yeah.
But since we're kind of done with the draft, since bets are a thing, I'm going to go ahead and congratulate us because we're amazing. We have already met the yearly minimum. As in that I'm the lowest at 20. Carver is at 22. Harris would be at 22. I don't know if I should add it in now officially. I've put it in there just to talk about it. But Gary and Harris made a bet that will last all season for every week, just to basically to get Chris like having to hustle on this. So if you count that as 14 weeks of regular season bets, Harris is at 36 bets already.
36 bets. Yep. You're that Carver.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
the rest of the league, as far as I can tell, has none.
Ugh.
So way to suck, league. Way to suck. And you didn't submit card bets. So the
I'm
bet
at fault, too.
board is very disappointed in you. But I'm also lazy and the season hasn't started, so I don't really care.
Oh, well, did you post it yet so everybody can see the bets?
No, I haven't shared it.
Okay.
I want to get better organized to see if I can get it. I don't, I want to try to put some of the formulas in it so it just auto does a decent amount of this for me. I mean, it won't auto, because you guys, some of the things we wanted to start tracking were issued and like, I think issued and accepted, right? So accepted is the easy one because I already count that, but now I gotta have a way to check which ones were issued. So, and I'd rather not count every week manually, even though it's not that much work, but we'll see
Yeah.
what I do with it. I'm a very busy man, apparently. I went from not busy to busy, so mostly on the weekends. The rest of the time, not so busy. So,
But there you have it, guys. That is our draft recap episode. We talked about all 12 drafts. This Carver gave his expert analysis. We
Yeah.
learned that the fantasy footballers have no balls and won't call teams out for their drafts.
yeah,
Anything else?
that Carver's analysis is probably as good as Mike's.
Better. But yeah, thanks for tuning in and watching the whole thing. Leave some comments. Leave some how much you loved our content, and as always, how much you hated everything that I said. So
Yeah. And
we
don't
love
forget
the
to
hate
like and
mail.
subscribe.
Love the hate mail. Yeah. All that good
Constructive
stuff.
criticism.
We will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.